Have you ever been sitting quietly, maybe reading or drifting off to sleep, and suddenly your heart feels like it sips, skipping a beat, racing, or pounding in your chest? That jolt can feel frightening, almost like your body is whispering, something sips wrong. Now here's the surprising fact. In most cases, heart palpitations are not dangerous. In fact, up to 1 in 3 adults over 60 experience them at some point. And many times the cause is far simpler and more fixable than we imagine. But let me give you a quick win right now. If you ever feel your heart racing unexpectedly, try this. Take a deep breath in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it gently for 4 and breathe out slowly through your mouth for 6. Do that 3 times. Many people find that their racing heart begins to settle almost instantly. It's like reminding your nervous system that you're safe. That's just one small tool. But today we're going deeper, because while quick breathing tricks are useful, there's something even more powerful, something doctors and researchers are now calling the #1 natural remedy for heart palpitations. It's safe, it's simple, and the best part, you don't need a prescription, and you can start today. In this video, I'm not just going to tell you what it is. I'm going to walk you through the science, the stories, and the step-by-step ways you can use it in your daily life. By the end, you'll not only understand why your heart sometimes acts up, but also how to calm it and protect it for the long years ahead. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's begin. The first key insight, let's start with something most people don't realize. The majority of heart palpitations are not caused by the heart itself. They see or triggered by your nervous system. Think of your nervous system as the control tower at an airport. The heart is one of the planes waiting for instructions. If the control tower gets stressed, panicked, or overloaded, it sends out frantic signals. The planes, your heartbeat, end up taking off too fast, circling too low, or skipping the runway entirely. Here's what that means in plain English. When your body is under stress, whether it's emotional worry, lack of sleep, or even too much caffeine, your brain sends out extra adrenaline. That adrenaline is like pressing the gas pedal on your heart. Suddenly, it's racing, skipping, or thumping harder than normal. Now, here's the good news. If adrenaline and nervous system overload are the problem, calming that system is the remedy. And researchers are finding that the single most powerful natural tool for calming the nervous system and reducing palpitations is deep, consistent hydration with the right balance of minerals. Yes, something as basic as water can change the rhythm of your heart. Here's steps. Why? Your heart cells communicate using tiny electrical signals. For those signals to work properly, your body needs enough electrolytes, minerals like magnesium, potassium, and sodium. If you're even slightly dehydrated, those minerals get out of balance. And when they're out of balance, your heart rhythm can wobble like a drummer who keeps missing the beat. In fact, studies show that older adults are more prone to mild dehydration because the body's thirst signal becomes weaker with age. You might not feel thirsty, but your cells are already running on empty. And guess what one of the earliest symptoms of low hydration and low minerals is? You got it, heart palpitations. Here sits a small step you can try today. Instead of plain water, add a pinch of mineral-rich salt or a squeeze of lemon to your glass, or sip on coconut water, which naturally contains potassium. Many people notice within a few days that their palpitations become less frequent or less intense. One woman I spoke with in her late 60s told me she had been worried sick about her racing heart. After tests came back normal, her doctor suggested something simple: drink more fluids with electrolytes. Within a week, her fluttering episodes, as she called them, had dropped by more than half. So before you imagine the worst, start with the basics: hydration and minerals. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's something you can do right now. But hydration is only the beginning, because while water and minerals give your heart the tools to beat steadily, there sips another often overlooked cause of palpitations hiding in plain sight. And it has nothing to do with what you drink. It has everything to do with what you breathe. The second key insight, let's talk about breathing. Because if hydration is the fuel for your heart's electrical system, breathing is the rhythm keeper. Most of us don't even notice how we breathe, but here's a secret: shallow, fast breathing is like tapping your foot on the gas pedal of your nervous system. It keeps adrenaline high and pushes your heart into a faster, irregular beat. On the other hand, slow, deep, steady breathing is like pressing the brake pedal. It tells your body, you're safe, you can relax now. Doctors call this the vagus nerve effect. The vagus nerve runs from your brain, down your chest, and into your stomach. It's the body's natural calm down button. When you breathe deeply, especially when you exhale slowly, you actually stimulate the vagus nerve. That signal travels straight to your heart, telling it to slow down and settle back into rhythm. Here sits a simple story. A gentleman in his 70s once told me about his daily walks. He loved being outside, but every time he climbed a hill, his heart would start pounding like a drum. He felt anxious and worried. One day, a physical therapist taught him a breathing trick. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. Keep that rhythm, especially on the hills. The next week, he was stunned. His heart still beat faster when he climbed, of course, that's normal. But the scary pounding and fluttering eased dramatically. His body finally had a rhythm to follow, and his heart calmed down. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Researchers have found that even 5 minutes a day of slow breathing can reduce the frequency of palpitations. One study showed that adults practicing deep breathing exercises saw improvements in heart rate variability, a fancy way of saying the heart became more flexible and resilient. So here sits a takeaway you can try right now. Sit comfortably, put one hand on your chest, the other on your belly, inhale gently through your nose, see if you can make your belly rise more than your chest, hold for a moment. Then exhale slowly, longer than your inhale. Try that for just 2 minutes. Notice how your shoulders drop. Notice how the tightness in your chest softens. That's not just relaxation, that's your vagus nerve calming your heart from the inside out. And here's the twist. Once you learn to use your breath as a tool, you carry that remedy everywhere you go. You don't need a pill, a machine, or a doctor's appointment. You just need a few deep breaths. But we're not done. Because while hydration and breathing can calm your heart in the moment, there's a third hidden trigger that often sneaks under the radar. It's not what you drink, it's not what you breathe, it's what you eat. And the food on your plate may be either soothing your heartbeat or stirring it up. The third key insight. Now let's open the fridge door for a moment, because what we put on our plate can have a direct line to how our heart feels. Here's the simple truth. Some foods calm your heartbeat, while others excite it, almost like flipping light switches on your nervous system. Think about caffeine for a moment. Coffee, tea, chocolate, even certain sodas. For some people, one small cup of coffee is enough to spark that racing, fluttering feeling in the chest. Why? Because caffeine is like pouring gasoline on the body's stress response. It tells your adrenal glands, wake up, pump faster, and your poor heart is left thumping harder than usual. Now here's the twist. It isn't just caffeine. Sugar does something similar. After a high sugar snack, say a donut or a soda, your blood sugar spikes, then crashes. That roller coaster ride forces your body to release stress hormones like adrenaline. And yes, one of the first side effects can be palpitations. But here's the encouraging part. Just as certain foods can trigger palpitations, others can actually soothe them. Let's use a simple analogy. Imagine your heart like a drummer in a band. When the drummer has the right equipment, steady sticks. A good drum kit, the rhythm flows smooth. But if the equipment is broken or the sticks are missing, the beat gets messy. For your heart, that equipment comes from nutrients, especially magnesium and potassium. These minerals help your heart cells reset after every single beat. Without enough of them, the rhythm gets shaky. That's why foods like leafy greens, bananas, avocados, nuts, and beans are powerful allies for heart steadiness. Here are a practical step. Try starting your morning with a smoothie that includes spinach, half a banana, and a handful of almonds. You'll be giving your body magnesium and potassium before the day even begins. Many people notice that over time, their skip beats become fewer and less intense simply by upgrading their daily fuel. One woman in her early 60s told me she began keeping a simple food diary. Every time she experienced palpitations, she wrote down what she'd eaten in the last couple of hours. Within 2 weeks, a pattern jumped out at her. Coffee and pastries were her triggers. Once she swapped her pastry for oatmeal with berries, her episodes dropped dramatically. So here's the mini win. Your kitchen can be either your trigger or your remedy. By slowly shifting toward foods that fuel your heart rhythm and cutting back on the ones that spark adrenaline, you give your heart the steady beat it's been craving. But food is only one piece of the puzzle. Because even if you're well hydrated, breathing deeply, and eating wisely, there's another hidden factor that can shake your heartbeat, and it has more to do with your daily habits than anything on your plate. The fourth key insight. We've talked about water, we've talked about breath, we've talked about food. Now let's talk about the quiet, everyday habits that either protect your heart or secretly stress it out. Because here's the truth. Even if you're eating spinach smoothies and sipping mineral water, if your daily routines are wired with hidden stress, your heart will eventually show it. Think about your heart like a musical instrument. You can tune it beautifully, but if the musician is constantly playing in a noisy, chaotic room, the sound will still come out harsh and shaky. That's what stress does to your heartbeat. And the most overlooked habit that fuels palpitations? Poor sleep. Yes, sleep? It sounds almost too ordinary, but science is crystal clear. People who don't get enough restful sleep have more frequent palpitations. Why? Because lack of sleep throws your entire nervous system out of balance. It's like trying to run a marathon after staying up all night. You're exhausted, your hormones are scrambled, and your heart is left pounding away trying to keep up. Here's Sips a story that might sound familiar. A retired teacher in her late 60s once told me she was terrified of going to bed because that's when her heart palpitations felt the strongest. She'd lie down, close her eyes, and then suddenly, thump, flutter, pause. She'd sit up in a panic, worried something was seriously wrong. But after a sleep study, doctors found she wasn't sleeping deeply enough. Her oxygen dropped at night, her stress hormones stayed high, and her heart was paying the price. Once she began practicing better sleep habits, like turning off screens an hour before bed, dimming the lights, and sticking to a bedtime routine, her palpitations began to fade. Within a month, she reported sleeping through the night with only rare flutter episodes. And here's the key. It's not just the hours of sleep, but the quality. Your body needs deep, restorative sleep to reset the nervous system and balance hormones. Without it, adrenaline levels remain high during the day, priming your heart to misfire. Now let's add one more daily habit that matters. Movement. Not heavy, punishing exercise. In fact, pushing too hard can sometimes cause palpitations. What your heart craves is gentle, consistent movement like walking, stretching, or light strength training. Movement helps your body use up excess adrenaline, improve circulation, and regulate blood sugar. All of that reduces the stress signals that make your heart skip. Here's something practical you can try tonight. Take a slow 10-minute walk after dinner. Nothing fancy, just stroll at a gentle pace. Research shows that even short evening walks improve digestion, lower blood sugar, and calm the nervous system, setting your heart up for a smoother night's rest. Now you might be wondering, all right, so I need water, breathing, better food, sleep, and gentle movement. That's a lot to remember. And I get it, but here's the encouraging truth. These habits build on each other. When you sleep better, you crave healthier food. When you eat better, you have more energy to move. When you move, you sleep more soundly. And your heart, it follows along with a steadier beat. But let me plant one more seed of curiosity. Because while all these habits matter, there's another piece to the puzzle, a piece most people overlook completely. It isn't about what you drink, eat, or even how you sleep. It's about the way you think and the story you tell yourself every day. And this may be the most powerful heart remedy of all. The fifth key insight. We've explored hydration, breathing, food, sleep, and movement, but now let's look at the hidden factor that often gets ignored. Your mindset. You see, your thoughts are not just whispers in your head. They send real physical signals throughout your body. If your inner dialogue is filled with worry, your body listens. Stress hormones rise, muscles tighten, and your heart, always sensitive, begins to race or flutter in response. Here's the interesting part. Studies show that people who suffer from palpitations often fall into a cycle. The heart skips a beat. The person worries about it, that worry sends out stress signal, and the palpitations get worse. It's like a feedback loop, a merry-go-round that's hard to step off. So how do you break that cycle? By training the mind the same way you'd train a muscle. One gentleman in his 70s told me he used to panic every time his heart skipped. But then his doctor suggested something unusual. Instead of panicking, he should simply notice the palpitation, take a breath, and say to himself, "This is just my body's signal. I'm safe." Over time, his fear response diminished. And guess what? The palpitations grew less frequent. This isn't SIP magic. It's SIP psychology. When you calm your mind, your nervous system follows, and when your nervous system relaxes, your heart gets the message. All is well. Here's an easy tool to practice today. Gratitude journaling. Before bed, write down 3 small things you're thankful for. They don't have to be big. Maybe a phone call with a friend, a delicious meal, or the way the evening air felt on your walk. Gratitude shifts the brain away from stress and into calm. That calm ripples down through your vagus nerve, straight to your heart. And remember this, it's never too late to shift your mindset. The brain is remarkably flexible, even in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, which simply means your mind can still learn new habits. And when your mind learns calm, your heart learns rhythm. So here's the encouragement. Even if you've struggled with palpitations for years, every day is a new chance to begin again. With the right mindset, you're not just calming your heart, you're reclaiming trust in your body. But before we wrap up, let's take everything we've learned and bring it together. Because the real power comes when all these insights, hydration, breathing, food, sleep, movement, and mindset are woven into one simple path forward. And in the conclusion, I'll show you how to put it all together into a daily rhythm you can actually enjoy. Bringing it all together. We've taken quite a journey together. We started with a simple but scary feeling, that sudden flutter or thump in the chest. And we've uncovered layer by layer the surprising truth: in most cases, heart palpitations aren't a sign of your heart failing. They're a signal that your body needs a little balance. Let's recap the remedies we explored. Hydration and minerals give your heart the electrical tools to beat steadily. Breathing deeply taps into the vagus nerve, sending a calm down message straight to your heart. Food choices can either stir up adrenaline or provide the nutrients that stabilize rhythm. Sleep and gentle movement restore your nervous system and give your heart a steady environment. Mindset and calm thinking break the cycle of worry that often fuels palpitations. Now, here's the key. You don't need to master all of these at once. Start small. Pick just one thing this week. Maybe it's drinking 2 extra glasses of mineral-rich water each day. Maybe it's trying that simple breathing exercise before bed. Or maybe it's writing down 3 things you're grateful for tonight. Because here's the truth. Your heart doesn't need perfection. It needs consistency. Even the tiniest step, practiced daily, begins to shift the rhythm back toward calm. And the longer you practice, the stronger that calm becomes. I want you to picture this. A year from now, you're sitting with a cup of tea, your heart beating steadily in your chest, and you think back to this moment. You'll remember that today was the day you chose to start caring for your heart in a new way, not with fear, but with confidence and compassion. And let me reassure you, it's never too late. Whether you're 60, 70, or 80, your body is still capable of learning, healing, and finding new rhythm. Your heart has carried you faithfully for decades. And with a little daily care, it can carry you many more. So here's your simple action for today. The next time you feel your heart race or flutter, don't panic. Pause, take a slow breath in for 4 seconds, hold, and breathe out for 6. Do that 3 times. Let your body remember that it knows how to find calm. If this video resonated with you, I'd love for you to join our community here. Hit the like button, leave a comment sharing your own experience with palpitations, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. We're building a space where wisdom, science, and encouragement meet, a place where no one has to face these health challenges alone. Your heart has a story, and today you've taken the first step in writing a steadier, healthier, and longer chapter.